London, with all its grandeur and hustle, serves as the backdrop to the life of Thomas Wells, a 38-year-old American lawyer, and his wife, Sophia Wells, a 35-year-old Australian interior designer. To the outside world, their life seems perfect. They reside in a lavish apartment located in the heart of London, with breathtaking views from large windows overlooking the River Thames. Every corner of their home is adorned with exquisite decor, creating an illusion of a flawless life. However, behind all the luxury, their marriage begins to show cracks. Thomas, too consumed by his career and ambition for success, starts neglecting his wife's emotional needs. He frequently travels for work, leaving Sophia feeling isolated and forgotten. Meanwhile, Sophia, despite having a thriving career in interior design, feels unappreciated. She feels as though her life revolves only around work and the ever-increasing monotony that comes with it. That evening, after a long business meeting, Thomas returns to their silent home. Sophia is sitting on the sofa, her anxiety evident. As she watches him enter, she forces a smile. Without saying a word, they sit together in their vast yet empty living room. "Thomas," Sophia says in a soft voice, "you've been away so much lately." However, her words are met only by silence from Thomas. He's lost in his thoughts, too tired to respond. They both know that their relationship is no longer what it once was, but no one is willing to speak of it. Sophia feels suffocated by the growing silence and tension in their relationship. In the midst of this emptiness, she decides to leave the house that night, heading to the art gallery where she works. There, she meets a man named David Cooper, an architect from England. Their conversation is warm, and Sophia feels a rare connection, something she has been searching for all this time. As their conversation deepens, Sophia finds herself drawn to David in a way she hasn't felt in a long time. Could this unexpected encounter change everything for her? David Cooper, a 40-year-old man with wavy black hair and piercing blue eyes, felt an instant connection with Sophia when they first met at the gallery. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, almost as if fate had brought them together. They discussed art, life, and everything that had been left unspoken in Sophia's marriage. David listened intently, and for the first time in a long while, Sophia felt truly valued. As they met more frequently, their connection grew deeper. David began to visit the gallery more often, their conversations becoming more personal and intimate. Sophia felt a sense of renewal in every word David spoke. Within him, she found the excitement and appreciation she had longed for. The spark that had been missing in her life seemed to be reignited. Meanwhile, Thomas, immersed in his work, began to feel the distance growing between him and Sophia. Though he sensed something was amiss, he didn't know how to address it. Without realizing it, their bond was weakening, and Sophia, in her emotional isolation, began to seek solace elsewhere. One evening, after sharing a meal with David, Sophia felt a surge of emotion. They kissed outside a romantic restaurant, and for the first time in what seemed like ages, Sophia felt alive again. However, when she returned home, she found Thomas waiting for her. "Where have you been?" he asked, his voice flat, filled with suspicion. Days passed, each one weighing heavier on Sophia. She felt trapped in a lie. On one side, there was Thomas, her husband of many years, and on the other, there was David, who gave her the attention and comfort she felt she had lost in her marriage. Every time she tried to speak to Thomas, guilt gnawed at her. One evening, amidst a storm of emotions, Thomas discovered the messages between Sophia and David on her phone. He froze for a moment, before rage and disappointment swept over him. Everything he thought was perfect shattered in an instant. He confronted Sophia, who was startled and unsure how to explain herself. "Sophia," Thomas said with a hoarse voice. "What have you done? Why didn't you tell me about this?" Sophia, now unable to hide her feelings, confessed. She admitted that she had felt utterly alone. She had never felt appreciated by Thomas for a long time. In her confusion, she had turned to David, even though she knew it was wrong. After revealing everything, Thomas was speechless, unable to utter a word. Sophia gazed at him with tear-filled eyes, desperately searching for a way out of the impasse. "What are we supposed to do now, Thomas?" she asked softly, but in her heart, she already knew that their relationship might never be the same again. After their painful confrontation, Sophia's phone rings. "It's a message from David. We need to talk, Sophia. I want you to know I'm ready to build a life with you, even though everything is hard." That night, in their spacious yet empty living room, they spoke about what had transpired. Thomas felt destroyed, and though he still loved Sophia, the pain was impossible to ignore. Sophia, on the other hand, felt she had betrayed someone who had been a significant part of her life for so long. She didn't know how to continue this relationship. "Can we ever go back to the way things were?" Thomas asked, his voice filled with doubt. "Can we forget everything and start again?" Sophia shook her head, feeling she could no longer live in deceit. "I don't know," she replied. "Maybe we can't go back to what we once had. Maybe we've come too far." However, despite the deep confusion, they both knew that their lives would never be the same after that night. A big decision had to be made. Could they fix what was broken, or was it time to let go of each other? Then, Sophia's phone rang. It was a message from David. "We need to talk, Sophia. I want you to know I'm ready to build a life with you, even though everything is hard." After learning of his wife's affair, Thomas felt more hurt than ever before. He decided to take matters into his own hands. With his skills and experience as a lawyer, he began digging into David's past. He found numerous things that could ruin David's reputation, and that became the weapon he needed to erase his guilt. But Sophia felt increasingly trapped. She wanted to escape the confusion, but she knew the choices she had made could not be undone. David began to approach her with more intensity, desiring more than just a physical relationship. Sophia felt ensnared between old love and increasing guilt. In a conversation with Rebecca, Thomas's old friend, Rebecca revealed that David's past was far darker than Thomas had realized. "David isn't just involved in personal issues, Thomas. He has a much darker history than you can imagine," Rebecca said seriously. "And now, he's deeply involved with Sophia." David became more entrenched in his relationship with Sophia. He felt his feelings for her growing stronger, and he was determined to build a future with her. However, he knew he had to face Thomas, who was growing increasingly unhinged. Sophia, who was feeling more confused, found herself stuck between two very different worlds. Meanwhile, Thomas became angrier and more hurt. He couldn't allow David to take control of his wife's life, but he also knew he had to tread carefully. David began to involve himself in more underhanded ways, attempting to strategize to oust Thomas in a way he hadn't anticipated. One night, as Sophia was with David, Thomas suddenly appeared at their door. "You think you can hide from me?" Thomas said, his voice full of threat. "You'll regret this." The battle between Thomas and David reached a fever pitch. Sophia found herself caught in conflicting emotions. She realized she had to make a decision that couldn't be undone. She felt guilty for betraying Thomas, but on the other hand, she felt alive again with David. Each meeting was becoming more tense, and Sophia felt trapped in her feelings. "Can we fix this?" Thomas asked, full of hope, though he knew the answer might already be clear. Sophia could only cry, feeling her confusion deepen. She knew she had to choose, but choosing between two men so different from each other left her even more entangled in her inner conflict. In a final meeting, Sophia said, "Thomas, I think this is over. We need to separate. I can't continue this." The decision was made, and the divorce was approaching. David, believing he had won Sophia's heart, grew more confident. But he didn't know that Thomas was planning something bigger. Thomas used every piece of information he had gathered about David's past to destroy his reputation publicly. David was cornered, and Sophia began to see the darker side of the man she thought could bring her happiness. David vanished after Thomas's threats, and Sophia was left in confusion. "I don't know who I truly love," Sophia thought, torn apart by everything. Everything that had transpired led up to this moment. Thomas and David met one last time, confronting all that they had done. Thomas presented the evidence that ruined David's reputation, while David threatened to expose Thomas's dark past. Sophia, now caught in the middle, had to make a decision that could change her life forever. In that final meeting, Sophia made a big decision: "I will separate from both of you. I'm going to find my own happiness." The divorce was final, and their lives began to change. Sophia, feeling freed from her confusion, started a new journey to find her own happiness. Thomas, though hurt, found peace within himself. He learned to value himself and lead a more balanced life. David, devastated by the scandal involving him, tried to rebuild his life, though Sophia was no longer part of it. But despite their separation, Sophia and Thomas found peace in the decisions they made, and they began walking different paths, each in search of their own happiness.